Somber day as we remember the mass shooting at Michigan State University 1 year ago today. While sadness flooded campus, so did support, both for those who lost their lives and those whose lives are forever changed.
Elise shows us how a united brotherhood is honoring one of their own and triumphing over tragedy.
We interrupt this program with a breaking news alert.
Breaking news out of Michigan State University, where police are investigating the shooting of several students.
1 year ago, on February 13th.
Oh no, is this a whole bunch of police passing? What happened?
Chaos on campus.
All I have so far is that there's a shooter in the hallway.
Oh my God.
This is crazy. This is really insane to me.
Students sheltering in place for hours.
Want to get something in front of the door? Bro, yeah.
After shots rang out at Michigan State University.
What's going on?
The calls started to come in around 8:18 tonight.
Guns drawn, first responders from more than 70 agencies swarming the grounds.
We got multiple victims at this time.
People are on stretchers.
And anxiously waiting for relief, parents, friends, sisters, and brothers.
This truly has been a nightmare that we are living tonight.
The night of the 13th, we're all just hanging out. We knew Brian was at the Union, and we're kind of like doing a head count of everybody. We didn't have Brian's head count.
That's because 20-year-old Brian Fraser was one of 3 people killed that night by 43-year-old Anthony McRae. McRae also killed 19-year-old Ariel Anderson, 20-year-old Alexandria Verner, and injured 5 other students.
The suspect exited Berkey Hall and walked over to the MSU Union.
Police say the man with no personal or professional connection to MSU shot and killed himself that night.
2 of the victims from Berkey Hall are deceased. 1 victim from the Union is deceased.
We mourn the loss of beautiful souls today and pray for those who are continuing to fight for their lives.
His cousin was in Phi Delta Theta last year, and he sent out the message in the morning about Brian's passing. When I woke up that next morning, that was the first message I read on my phone, and everyone just had no idea what to do.
Brian, a sophomore business student from Detroit suburb Grosse Pointe.
He was such a fun and ear-to-ear smile guy. Brian was actually the first person that I talked to when I walked through these doors on recruitment week.
He was kind of emerging as a leader.
And had already begun to make a difference as president of the MSU Beta chapter of Phi Delta Theta.
It's a fraternity house. It gets kind of rowdy and crazy a lot. It's never quiet, but man, for like months, it was just eerily quiet. Like, you know, guys were trying to cope in their own ways.
And in their own way, other chapters of Phi Delta wanted to be there for the wounded Spartans. Immediately after, members from the University of Nebraska, Butler, Purdue, the University of Nevada, Ohio University, the University of South Dakota, and more paid tribute to MSU and their fallen brother with green lights, banners, and words of support.
And they saw what happened and they wanted to be able to do something.
The fraternity CEO, Sean Wagner, talked with me from Phi Delta's headquarters in Oxford, Ohio.
This was their friend, this was their brother. And so what could we do to make sure that they had, and work with Michigan State to make sure that they had the support that they needed from a mental health and mental well-being standpoint.
And that support also meant keeping Brian's memory, his bright smile and generous spirit alive.
To turn, you know, again, something that's just so tragic into something that could be triumphant or respective to who Brian was, and make sure that we immortalize him.
That thought leading us to this stage.
In collaboration with his family, the Brian Fraser Memorial Presidential Scholarship was established. $160,000 was raised to date from over 1,400 donors.
So we'd like to thank you for everything that you did in awarding the first Brian Fraser Presidential Memorial Scholarship.
Brian's family worked with leadership from the national organization, the MSU chapter, and alumni to create a scholarship fund.
And within a week's time, we had 100 chapters, so students from about 100 different campuses participated, with about 1,100 non-members that also participated. They heard about the cause and wanted to honor Brian as well.
That vigorous response allowed them to set up 2 scholarships, a presidential award and a first-generation new member award.
Help us present our first presidential scholarship recipient, Matt Quick.
Roughly 5 months after the shooting, the first Brian Fraser Presidential Memorial Scholarship was awarded to Matthew Quick, not only a friend to Brian, but vice president of the chapter who stepped up to lead when Brian was killed.
But he was just a smart guy. You know, I worked beside him and I helped him out with, day-to-day stuff, but he just was very devoted.
Brian's mother on stage with her husband and daughter, emotional as she remembered her son and thanked the fraternity for helping hold them up at their lowest moment.
He really loved people, and you showing love for people will help keep him alive and help make our world a better place. So again, thank you so very much.
That's exactly what this year's recipient of the Presidential Scholarship wants to do. Current MSU Beta Chapter President Ryan Bennett talked with me via video chat in the revamped Phi Delta Library, newly dedicated to Brian thanks to donors.
Being able to accept this scholarship is just insane and honorable.
Accepting a scholarship named for the first person who welcomed him to the fraternity, Ryan not only spoke about the importance of continuing Brian's legacy, but of strengthening the bond with his brothers.
Like losing Brian, we just didn't expect that. And so I think our brotherhood is getting a lot closer, and guys realize, like, hey, not every day is given. So we should spend that with those we can.
Elise Ramey, WNEM, TV5.
Sean Wagner says several organizations have been able to impact their community through Brian's memory. Phi Delta Theta is happy with the level that Brian's scholarship fund sits at currently.
But those wishing to donate in his honor can support the Live Like Lou Foundation, a charity Brian was fond of. We have a link in our hot links section.